Halfway point of Split 2 of 2023. Welcome to the Drone Champions League. It's race day 10. Matt Andrews here to take you through the action, featuring our teams on their way to seeing who is going to be the world champion. We've got a top of the table set today. First up, it's Alpha Prop Racing. Now they're outside of the top 6 who will make it to the season finals. They're hoping Lazy Day, Gabri, Keepy FPV and Prop FPV can get a big win against this team. Cyclone Racing, the best of the new teams in 2023, second in the leaderboard currently. The Ice Cheetah, Fluorescent and J-Box are back again. Astronaut is taking his spot in place of Zion. The Xblades Drone Racing team are the only team ahead of Cyclone on the leaderboard. Shane, Sali1, Minjay and Star23467. They're going up against their old Spanish rivals, SDT Perpetuumcoin. They've slightly changed their roster. We have Silvio and Danube back again, then it's Squid, FPV, and Blessed completes their lineup of 4. As you see, Xblades and Cyclone so close together at the top of the leaderboard. STT want to stay in that top 6. Alpha Prop Racing, they need a big win over Cyclone to move closer. And they'll do that over 3 races each. First 2 pilots against each other, then the other 2 pilots from each team will race off before the DCL Big Heat, where all 8 pilots are racing at the same time. 4 points for a win in any of those races, then 3, then 2, and then 1 if you come in 4th. And after the 3 races, the team with the most points will get 3 points towards their season standing. It's 1 point for a draw. Nobody wants to come away with 0. Today's track is a return to the location of our 2022 World Championship Finals when we were live from Stavanger in Norway. After completing the block trade turn over the Stavanger harbour, we then move to harbour side and start going to the rooftops around this slalom pole here. Then up through this and then a sharp turn down through that gate, and then you get low, don't get too low, before you fly into this little tiny slalom and then an upwards right-hand ladder, then a descending left-hand one. Then we go over the restaurants here, and that is a really tight little dip which has caught pilots out before. Then you make it over the water, a long sweeping turn through this DCL gate and another, and then a power loop here. Up and back down again. Watch out for the bars over the top. There's a corkscrew coming up, just the one set before you make a left-hand turn here and go on to another lap. So let's go racing. Alpha Prop against Cyclone. The first 2v2 is Lazy Day and Gabri against Astronaut and the Ice Cheetah. Alpha Prop racing in their slightly red, slightly pink colour. The purple drones, that's the Cyclone pilots, who are currently 1st and 4th, with Alpha Prop switching around a little bit in the middle as we start to get into the middle of lap number 1. On board with Gabri, who's a quarter of a second behind the Ice Cheetah. Turns into the ladder, follows him nicely up to the top, had vision on him all the way through, and the second of the ladders is good. This is nice quick racing, but Gabri has lost a 1/10 of a second, or maybe slightly more now. Into the loop. That's good from both pilots. Into the corkscrew here, that's nicely done as well, and Gabri staying with the Ice Cheetah. Lazy Day and Astronaut just a few seconds behind already, 1 lap down, into lap number 2, and into the block trade turn, all 5 gates. Gabri chasing the Ice Cheetah through them. Clean flying out in front for Cyclone, Ice Cheetah there. Astronaut 7 seconds behind him, down in 4th place. So at the moment, this is 5 points for each team if it was to finish in these positions. Second ladder's good. Now the Ice Cheetah over the restaurants. Oh, hit the pylon and the hurdle. Oh, and Gabri is trying to get away now. That's unlike the Ice Cheetah. Gabri takes a little bump there for Alpha Prop in the ramp, and that's lost him lots of time trying to find his recovery. But the Ice Cheetah not close enough to take advantage of it yet. And then onto the turn on lap number 3. They go down the straight through the 2 turbo gates and head to the block trade turn. 0.02 of a second between them. Oh, this is so close. We've got half a race to go. The Ice Cheetah was smooth over these rooftops earlier. Just trying to get away, but Gabri gets him on one turn. The Ice Cheetah pulls back in front on the next. Some of the turns are definitely quicker for the Ice Cheetah. And now into the ladders, and he comes away just slightly ahead of Gabri, but this is where he went wrong last time. He's out, and he's through, and he's back out over the water. A 10th ahead of Gabri still. Into the power loop, which caught Gabri out badly. Oh yes, that route was far too far over to the side. It's a much quicker one than it was for Gabri on lap number 2. But he's lost over a second. Look, he can't even see the Ice Cheetah now, who is away out over the water. Oh, that power loop, a real problem for Alpha's Gabri. Final lap here. The Ice Cheetah swings back through the DCL gate. Goes through this pair of rooftop dives. Now to the ladder, and he's 3 seconds ahead. It's all fallen apart for Gabri. If Astronaut can catch Lazy Day and get them an extra point by coming in third, they'd really like that to happen. But Astronaut is close to Lazy Day, but not in front of him yet. The Ice Cheetah, though, is clear out in front. There's a solid power loop from him. One more turn, and the Ice Cheetah will head to the finish gate and take 4 points with him. Gabri looks like they're going to get the 3, and then Lazy Day and Astronaut are really close coming in for third and fourth, but Alpha Prop, hang on.
No.
So close, bro.
That ramp always gets me.
As Gabri said, the ramp caused him real issues there. The Ice Cheetah was in a close battle with them, and the Ice Cheetah, remember, didn't have it all clean. They did get a little bit caught out there and on that hurdle as well. Gabri's first problem with the ramp, they didn't climb out of it enough. They hit the end wall. Not a bad recovery when you look at it like that, but it was slow afterwards. On to the start of the third lap. There's that moment when they were so close. Barely any thousandths of a second between them. But Gabri's next time through the ramp, getting caught on the railings over the top, which does catch out a few pilots. You've got to fit through. And then the block train turn was all out of rhythm. That's where they lost the other 2 seconds. Final lap chase though, Gabri gets the ramp a little bit smoothed out, and remember they'll get another go at it when we reach the DCL Big Heats. The Ice Cheetah was the one who got the maximum points out of that race. Now the other pilots join in, Keepy and Prop against J-Box and Fluorescent. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of this race. Keepy was a very popular pilot back in our real life racing days before COVID, and he's only recently rejoined to the starting roster for Alpha Prop. Prop are new pilots in Split 2 for the team. We've seen some fast racing, we've seen some unnecessary showboating from them. They're not going to be able to take this one too casually. In fact, they're down in 4th place. J-Box, really strong performer for Cyclone. In 3rd, it's Fluorescent, their new pilot for the purple team, who's currently leading the way as we head towards the end of lap number 1. Keepy, half a second behind Fluorescent, and about half a second in front of J-Box. Keep his view on to lap number 2, heading towards block train gates, trying to get on the inside. Fluorescent comes screaming across him and is only just keeping up with him as Keepy is trying to get past now. And does! Now to the rooftops. Keepy going a little bit wider but carrying more speed into the dive, but Fluorescent is a 1/10 of a second ahead of them. Into the ladder, right turns, everybody goes up. Then left and everyone comes down. Here's Fluorescent in the lead, 1/10 of a second ahead of Keepy. Swinging out over the water, getting caught on that fairly simple turn. Got to shake that off and make the power loop work, which he does. Now the corkscrew, also a technical one. That's all good, and there's Keepy as Fluorescent tries to turn on the inside. Halfway through the race, 1/10 of a second still between them. J-Box and Prop FPV far too far behind, and currently in the positions where it'll be another 5 points each. Fluorescent chases Keepy, tries to keep up with them as they've lost a little bit more time now, and that's going to lose them more. Down hard onto the concrete. Caught by J-Box, not caught by Prop, but the 2 Cyclone pilots have swapped positions and Keepy is clear out in Stavanger's harbour. Nothing to worry about in terms of a pilot suddenly appearing in their peripheral vision. They're going to swing on to the start of lap number 4 with clear sky in front of them. Nearly 3 seconds ahead of J-Box. Don't want to make any mistakes, but they've got such a big lead that Keepy here, Geordie Peak for Alpha Prop, can smoothly swing around all of this with his teammates telling him no need to do anything crazy. That ladder's nice. Early pre-turn, too soon. Oh, Keepy recovered very quickly. He's carrying on, and J-Box behind him has had more trouble, so in fact he's further behind than he was. Oh, Keepy's pre-turn was early. Meant he crashed too tightly on the second part of the ladder, but it's another win.
Let's go, Keepy!
Yeah, that was rough.
Fluorescent found that one rough. Keepy gets a win for Alpha Prop. That makes the series very close indeed. Keepy had a little bump on lap number 1 in that early ladder. Fluorescent had a little bump here and there too. That one's over the water, which is a tight turn, but you've got lots of visibility of it, so you shouldn't really be hitting that or that dive. Here's Keepy wrapping things up, making it 5 points all with his first place and Prop FPV coming in last. So, the legendary DCL Big Heat, all 8 pilots racing at the same time. Fluorescent with a terrible start. He's rolling along the floor just in front of the starting blocks, messed up the launch completely. Everybody else away. And very, very close at the front. 3 pilots within a 1/10 of a second of each other. Gabry's up there, Keepy's around, the Ice Cheetah and J-Box. So all big names for these teams getting involved right from the start. J-Box didn't really feature a great deal in his earlier race. He wants to lead this one out, and he's a quarter of a second ahead of the Ice Cheetah, who we're on board with. Gabry, bit more than a quarter of a second behind him, and going to gain on him now. The Ice Cheetah is in all kinds of messy trouble getting out of the power loop. Nowhere near as good as he was earlier. He's lost a ton of time. That sends him out of the scoring positions. It's J-Box, Gabry, Lazy Day, and then Astronaut at the moment, which is another 5 points all. Could we get a complete tie between these teams? It was so unlikely on paper, given that these teams, although they are such fun rivals, Cyclone are right up the top of the leaderboard, and Alpha Prop have not been performing anywhere near as well. We just caught Gabry there making a mistake on the ladder, trying their best to keep Alpha Prop in the fight here, and they're in second, but none of their teammates are in any of the other scoring positions, let alone looking to tie this one up. That said, it's pretty close around the middle now. Third, fourth, fifth, all near each other. The Ice Cheetah has lost a lot of time, letting Keepy move up into fourth, and they slip past Astronaut into third. We're back into those tied positions if Keepy can stay ahead of Astronaut. So we'll stay with him now as he chases Keepy in fourth place over the rooftops. We've got this and a lap to go. Down through the dive, Astronaut keeping it together. Keepy keeping in front of him for now. He's had mistakes on both of those ladders, but not this time. Gabry over the water. That's the open turn that really pilots should be making nice and clean. Gabry down into third. Astronaut clambering all around the back of him, trying to steal that position. Gabry's got to not let those mistakes affect him. Astronaut's got to clean it up as well as he just scrapes through the last gate of the third lap. Just bumped off the top inside of it and has managed to keep going. He is a few tenths now, a half a second behind Gabry. Keepy is very close to Gabry as well. Astronaut is in a good position to maybe not just get third, but second as well. J-Box needs to keep it together out front. Astronaut needs to tidy it up a little bit as he's not gaining with turns like that. Two closed gates here. Now the open section over the water. It's a bit wobbly for Astronaut, but he's doing his best. He's trying to gain on them, but Keepy and Gabry have tidied it up. His J-Box has got the win. Who comes in second? It looks like it's Keepy and then Gabry and Astronaut.
Awesome job, guys. Golly.
Good job.
Gabry, Keepy.
Keepy and Gabry, good job, you both.
Dude, I fell apart. Good job, J-Box. Thanks for freaking holding it down when you needed to, bro.
Understandably, neither team looking too happy about the performances there. J-Box is the one who won the big heat for Cyclone. Fresson never got into that race. Prop, no showboating this week. Just a few mistakes making their way around. Having a problem with the ladder, a few pilots did at various different stages. The Ice Cheetah for Cyclone was flying quickly, but really struggled with the power loop. That messed up their rhythm completely. You can see they barely found their way in. Really struggled to get out again. Gabry hit this gate on the water, as did a couple of other pilots. It's the first ever pure draw that we've had. 5 all in every race, 15 all overall. Xblades against SDT now. Only be a surprise if this one's a draw. Star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 and Minjay against Silvio and Blessed. Now these teams have had a decent rivalry for many years in the DCL. Xblades, former 5-time world champions of the Drone Champions League. SDT have managed to get a win against them just once or twice during all the races they've had. They're in the thick of it here. Look at this. Silvio currently leading. Then it's Star and then Minjay, who we're on board with, the 15-year-old out of Korea, Minjay Kim. The FAI Individual World Juniors Champion as of very recently. He's in third. Star still in second, just switching back and forth with Silvio. They'll head on to lap number 2. Blessed is almost a second behind these 3 pilots who are very close through the Torval gates. And into block trade all together. Silvio still leading the 2 Xblades pilots. A lot of pressure on him as he'll know how quick Star and Minjay are. Minjay still chasing alongside his teammate Star, moving up into second. Oh, but the ladder has wrecked him. That's cost him a whole second. Bless doesn't quite manage to catch him, but he's now solidly into third. So Silvio with a bit of space now, over a half a second between him and Star, who we're on board with, trying to chase him down into the power loop, and that's good. And Star will know from Minjay that he's dropped further behind. So Star with a bit more to do, and a bit more to do than he had, as well as he's lost a few tenths too. Silvio has been flying so well in 2023, been an absolute standout performer. When we did our exhibition race in Dubai earlier on this year, he was the pilot that SDT chose to fly and represent them, and he nearly won the whole thing. Silvio really flying well for SDT, and still 3/4 of a second ahead of Star, and Minjay still some way behind, and Blessed nowhere near the fight for points. Are we going to get another 5-all today? It's totally possible. Silvio just slightly nearer to Star. He's gained on him by about 3/10 and a little bit more there on that turn. He's going to need to make gains on every turn if he wants to catch Silvio. Now up to the roof. Oh no, Star! That's surely done it for Xblades. Silvio, unless he gets into a real tangle on any of these gates, has got a second over both of the Xblades pilots, and with that is surely picking up the 4 points. But it does look like it will be 5-all. Another draw, 4th race today. And it's going to be that, with 4 for Silvio, and then Minjay and Star in 2nd and 3rd, and there's Blessed.
Game on, winner.
Sorry, I made a mistake.
Well, when you're racing at this speed and with this caliber of pilots, one mistake is too much sometimes to make up for. We've seen a lot of mistakes around this Stavanger track from a number of pilots, though. Minjay just getting caught out on a ladder. Star on the rooftops. These are obstacles that our pilots would be very familiar with from all the other tracks we've flown. Silvio has just nailed that power loop so cleanly, and that's how you fly a corkscrew, and that's how you win a race for your team, no matter who your opposition are. So can Sally 1 and Shane for Xblades outscore Squid and Danube? Well, we've got a lot of experience here on the Xblades side. Sally 1, brilliant performer. The only one who managed to beat Silvio from STT when we flew that exhibition race in Dubai that I mentioned. He leads here. Shane with him. Squid now squeezing between them and heading up towards the ladders. These dangerous ladders. Oh, it's dangerous for Shane. He's got caught out there. That sends Shane to the back. And then Danube here is in 2nd, and it's Squid who's close behind him, weaving through the water. Heading. Oh, Danube's on the water. Didn't hit any of the obstacles, but he hit the sea. Danube goes to the back and is a long way behind, and looking like he'll be staying there. Sully 1 is our leader, and Squid is in 2nd, and this is Shane who's in 3rd and just a couple of tenths behind Squid. What a mess we are having in Norway. Can we clean it up and get a real race on? Squid, can he do anything about Sally 1, who's 1.5 seconds ahead of him? That's probably a little bit too much for Squid to do, as he just gets caught on a turn and loses a bit more time and a place with it. Sally 1 can't even get it to get around in front. This is unbelievable that from these 4 teams we're seeing today, I don't think we've had really a clean run for anybody except maybe Silvio in the last race. Just little bumps here and there. If they're just tiny little ones on the inside of gates, then you can keep going in the same direction like Sally 1 is doing. But it is really unlike so many of these pilots to be hitting anything at all in a race. Sally 1 is ahead of Shane. That's Xblades in 1st and 2nd. And then Squid and Danube, 3rd and 4th. And the gaps are such that it's going to need a big mistake from someone to give the pilot behind them a chance to catch them. Sally 1 through the power loop without any trouble. Turns nicely into the corkscrew, and he'll start the final lap here. Now about 2 seconds ahead of his teammates. Xblades in a 1 and 2. That'll get them 7 points here. Squid and Danube would just pick up 2 points and 1 point for the 3rd and 4th, and that will give Xblades a clear lead over SDT Perpetuumcoin before we go into the DCL Big Heat. But this second section over the land here is where we seem to have real trouble. Sally 1, 1 ladder and a 2nd, all clean. This is more like it now. To the water, not surely going to get caught on that DCL gate. He doesn't. Can he do the power loop as well as he did earlier? Yes, he does. This is a great lap from Sally 1. Finally, some clean flying. And with that, an extra 2nd between him and Shane.
Nice.
Good job, guys. Nice.
Sally 1 with a big win there. And Xblades getting 1st and 2nd over Squid and Danube. What is going on with the racing that we're seeing? So Shane was under a lot of pressure here. Keeps it off the ground, but the green drone's so close to him all the time. Yeah, his route through that ladder sees them both in front of him. Danube hits the water, too low on the route to the power loop. That is extraordinary. Here's Squid just turning a little bit too soon, and that's when he stayed down into third and couldn't catch up from there. Although Shane nearly gave him a chance towards the end of it, but Sully won, finished the whole thing off. That is a great power loop. Here's a corkscrew. So nicely done. That's how you fly it. No hesitation, no wobbles. Big 4 points win. The big heat. Everybody races this. Silvio, surely the best of the pilots for SDT. Sully won, smoothly finishing his last race. I can expect a really good battle between both of them. But everybody within at 0.2 of a second out of the blocks and into the first turns. Everybody still here. This is more like it. Over the rooftops, now down towards the ladders, which are surely going to start separating some pilots. Silvio right in the battle, leading the way for SDT. In second place, it's Sully One who's ahead of him. The rest of SDT are out of the scoring points at the moment. Silvio and Sully One and Minjay and Shane all coming up and just nudging around and in front of Silvio. We go on to lap number 2 through the Torball gates. This is what the DCL pilots can do. Through block trade, that second DCL area, and then to the rooftops we go with Sully One and Minjay still ahead of Silvio for SDT in third. Then Shane and Star very close to them, and Danube just over a second behind, the second best pilots currently for SDT. Silvio heading now to the water. This big right-hand turn, no problems for these guys, and moving up. That's good work from Silvio, trying to cut those corners and gain some time. Into the corkscrew, all of those have been flown absolutely brilliant, but not just by Silvio, also Minjay and Sully One who are ahead of him. Star has slipped a tenth or two a little bit further back in the last of the scoring positions. Silvio in third, still trying to gain on Minjay and Sully One, but they are getting this smoothed out and dialed in. Oh no, now Sully One goes from the lead into third. Minjay is the current leader and Silvio is right with him. There's less than a tenth of a second between them. Silvio moves up into the front for SDT. If Danube can get into the scoring points as well, this will be really important, but they've got a lot more to do if they want to get an outright win over Xblades. And Silvio needs to get back into that leading position. He's chasing Minjay onto the final lap, through Torball and through block trade, just slightly on the inside. Nice work by Silvio, but Minjay still out in front, 0.2 of a second between them now. Around the cones, to the rooftops. Nobody can afford to make the slightest hesitation or mistake. And both of these pilots have plenty of experience, and Silvio's the one to hit first. Minjay now 1.2 ahead of Silvio, who's still in second, because Sully One is still behind him after some bumps for him too. Minjay will surely get this home and get a win for this race and overall for Xblades, and Silvio fights and claws to second place.
Let's go, boys.
Minjay makes up for the mistake he said he made in the last heat with an outright win for Xblades here. Sully One was in a really strong position for a long time, till that rooftop cost him the lead. Silvio was fighting for it all the way, but just catching this ladder on the last lap. Oh, could he have got Minjay if it wasn't for that? Well, Minjay flew very strongly out in front. And his teammates flew well too for most of it. Sully One had really good racing as well. So first, third and fourth out of the big heat equals 7 points, just 3 going to SDT. That means an outright win for Xblades. It started off close with a 5-all, but it ended up being 19 points to 11. In the other matchups on race day 10, Quad Force 1, Raiden and China Dragon all with wins. Quad Force 1 really needed that to try and stay in the top 6. Raiden really needed that win, as with Cyclone only getting a draw today, Raiden have slipped past them. Xblades are still undefeated, 10 wins out of 10. Next week on race day 11, Quad Force 1 will try and do something about that undefeated record of Xblades, and we'll see if SDT can get a win when they're racing the wildcard team. I'm Matt Andrews, thank you for watching the Drone Champions League. We'll see you in the skies.